So how do we qualify for Mainecare? I'm giving this information to you because I want you to understand what it takes to go into a Mainecare plan. Go back one. Sorry, it's okay. Karen's ahead of me. We have to qualify on two different branches, on two different levels. First, we have to qualify financially, and then we have to qualify medically. Financially, we break finances up into two different categories. We have exempt categories and we have non-exempt categories. Exempt categories are assets that you are allowed to keep and still qualify for Mainecare. So for an exempt, what falls under exempt category, and it's a very limited list, is your home. You can have a home with equity value of up to about $900,000, and that will be exempt. That also includes any adjacent land that you have that might be like on a separate deed or might be identified separately by the town, as long as it is adjacent, contiguous to your land, and it was intended to be part of your primary residence. So, say you bought a strip of land, on a side of your property because, you needed it for something, or you just wanted to keep your neighbors that farther away from you. As long as you intended to keep it as your primary residence, it would still qualify. The ill spouse in the facility is allowed to have $10,000 in liquid assets. So $2,000 in a bank account and about $8,000 in some kind of interest-bearing account. For the sake of making sure people don't ever go over that $10,000 limit, we do encourage people to be closer to like $9,000. Because if you go over $10,000, you could be disqualified from Mainecare if you don't cure that problem. You can have a whole life insurance policy with a cash value of $1,500. Sometimes we have to borrow against whole life policies to get the cash value down. So the face value is really not as important. It's the cash value that's important because you can borrow against that. You can have a mortuary trust worth $12,000. Mortuary trusts, I will caution everybody about mortuary trusts. It's very easy to overinvest in those. And any amount of money in the mortuary trust over $12,000 counts towards your $10,000 asset allowance. So you just want to be careful about how you invest in those. The couple, so you're married, as a married couple, you can have one vehicle. You can also have an additional vehicle if that additional vehicle serves a specific purpose. For example, one of you has a disability and your van is disability accessible. That is a reason why they would exclude the second vehicle, but typically you get one vehicle. You can also prepay any services that you need to, like your burial plan. And then the community spouse, if you're married, your community spouse can have an additional $130,380 in the community. So combined, the two spouses can have a home, $140,380, life insurance policy, mortuary trust, and vehicle. And by the way, the mortuary trust is each spouse gets one. So it's not, you're not capped at a combined 12,000, it's 12,000 each. Non-exempt assets is everything else. So anything above that 140,380 is non-exempt, and we have to plan for it. Okay, Karen. Oh, we're having a slide malfunction. There we go. Okay. So the second branch we have to worry about qualification for is the medical branch. This is not something that we can actually plan for. You have to just be medically qualified. So when you make your Mainecare application, Mainecare will send somebody from a company called Maximus to visit the ill spouse, and they will do an assessment of whether or not they qualify and what level of services they do qualify for. They're the ones who tell us whether a person is assisted living, rehab, or skilled. They'll make a determination of a person's mental capabilities, but they'll also determine whether or not they meet these 5 activities of daily living. There's more like 13, but we really only worry about the big 5. So mobility, can you walk around? Can you stand up or sit down or get out of bed by yourself? Do you need assistance? How much assistance do you need? Eating, can you feed yourself? But also, are you safe in a kitchen environment? Not can you cook a 7-course meal, because I can't do that. But are you safe? Are you going to leave the stove on? Are you going to leave the tea kettle on? Are you going to do things that are dangerous for you? Bathing, can you wash yourself? But also, are you safe in a bathtub? Are you a slip and fall risk? Are you going to, hurt yourself in the bath? Dressing, can you dress independently? And That doesn't necessarily mean that somebody picks your clothes out for you is a problem, but if they do pick your clothes out for you, do you know how to put them on in the right order? Or are you going to not know how to do that? And then the last one is toileting. This one is the one that embarrasses most people, but it's, can you use the restroom independently? And or are you having problems with restroom? So are you incontinent? Are you having accidents? That kind of stuff.